we're back once again. It's been a while for Perfect Tattoo History, and I don't know. I don't think this gentleman needs that much of an introduction. When I think of tattooing, I think of Mike. You know, I've known him for so fucking long. I've known him from the beginning of my tattoo career up until now, and this is one of the guys that like just. When I think of tattoo, like this is tattoo right here. You know what I mean? Like this is a motherfucker that loves tattooing as much as I do.
I appreciate it, Eric.
And,
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love the shit out of this fucking guy. I love him like a brother. But
Same.
And I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down here and shoot the shit today. And I know he's a lot of people's favorite tattooer, and he fucking should be. You know what I mean? He's busted his ass, and he's been around, and he makes fucking quality tattoo machines and tattoos and drawings, and you fucking name it, this motherfucker knows how to do it. You know, this is what a tattooer should be. These are the kind of things you should know about fucking tattooing, other than just picking up a tattoo machine. And so today we have from Inksmith and Rogers in Jacksonville, Florida, Mike Wilson. So, and I'm just going to start off like I start everything. How did you get into tattooing?
Just friends when I was younger that would get tattooed, and a lot of times, you know, there wasn't a lot of shops around. It was like an underground thing. It was illegal in Daytona back then.
Oh shit.
So like in the outskirts there'd be shops in, you know, other little connected towns, like north or south or whatever. And it was kind of mysterious, you know what I mean? Like there might be someone roll into town and do some tattoos and stuff like that, so it wasn't really accessible, which made it even more interesting.
Yeah. Who did you you knew you had to learn from somebody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, after you started fucking people up or whatever, you know what I mean? you have to get some kind of tutelage or knowledge from someone. Who did you go to? Who did you go to first?
There was a shop outside of Daytona in Harbor Oaks, a little bit south, and I got in the door there. But I went into all the shops around that I could, and of course, you know, same story.
Right.
You know, push a broom for a year or no or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so Annette LaRue used to work there. She apprenticed there and worked, and she was leaving.
Right.
So that kind of
who
opened
on
a
the
spot.
plate? Who on the joint?
This lady, Cindy.
That was Cindy.
It was called
right?
Atlantic Tattoo. Yeah, it was in Harbor Oaks. It was across from the Last Resort Bar.
Where, she's the one that outlined that fucking bore on your rib or whatever?
Yeah, that Richard redid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit! And what year was that?
91, 92.
91, 92.
Yeah.
So you're there. How long were you there for?
About 6 months, and during that course of time, there was a bike week that went on. So a bunch of guest artists would come, like Guy Atchison came, John Sargentson from England, Ken Fisher from Old Orchard Beach, Maine, Miss Vicky used to come from Gloversville, New York, and work the season.
Right,
you know, so people would come down. You know, like February's like NASCAR race week, then March is...
And it's just starting to get nice and warm down there too, you know?
Yeah, so it's still snowing up there, and then it's nice in Florida, so, you know, people will come. You know, spring break, bike week, all through the summer till Labor Day, and then it's a ghost town again.
Shit.
You know, like coastal beach
towns. Yeah, of course. So how did you get hooked up with Inksmith and Rogers?
Well, during that bike week time, I met Lou from Miami, because everyone's down there, so there's more tattooers working, you know, in campgrounds, hotel rooms, and everywhere.
Yeah, sure.
So I met a lot of tattooers, so I knew Lou was down there, and then he mentioned Eric and Debbie up in Inksmith at the time. That was just 100 miles away. So just knowing where some other shops were out of that, you know, the small circle that I knew of, then it was like the next hub of like, you know, Orlando to Tampa, Miami, Jacksonville, Georgia, you know.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
So you hooked up with Lou down there?
Yeah.
And what he hooked you up with Eric somehow?
Well, he mentioned Eric, and I had friends in Jacksonville through skateboarding. They used to get tattooed there.
Right, because you were a fucking skater kid, pretty much, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So a lot of people were getting tattooed then.
Yeah,
you know
sure,
what I mean?
sure.
So,
The skating community. I mean, everyone was fucking tattooed up and shit. You know. I mean,
I remember
usually fucked up ones, but
yeah. Fred Smith was a pro skater, and he tattooed, and he was down in Jacksonville and in Daytona, like doing kitchen magician style. Yeah.
Nice.
So that's I'm like 18, and he's tattooing my friends at houses. You know what I mean?
Right.
So yeah. That was cool.
So how did you meet up with Eric?
I went up to the shop, and then at the time.
Was that the Mayport or on Atlantic?
No,
Atlantic.
Atlantic.
Yeah.
Because it was that was a building called Michael Cycles, and a buddy of mine, Bubba, was a Harley mechanic there.
Right.
And Eric bought the building from them.
Right on.
And so that's the one on Atlantic.
So how did it work? I mean, you went in there and you were.
Because
I remember Eric saying, like, he saw your fucking drawings and shit like that and was like, fuck, I gotta get this motherfucker.
Yeah. Well, Miss Robin, who learned from Lou in Fayetteville, North Carolina, her and Lou used to be together, and she was working for Eric.
Oh, okay.
And I went and I knew her through Lou, and then people down in Miami.
Right. So that's a great foot in the door.
Yeah,
right
so
there.
then I went there, and then, I basically, everywhere I went, it was like I was still apprenticing. I'd go in, I'd make needles, I'd clean up, like wherever I was visiting. So I'd be in Daytona for a few days, then I'd go to Orlando, then I'd go to Tampa, then I'd go back up to Jacksonville, so like 2 days here, a couple days here, a couple days. So I just do rounds, which is what I do today almost. It's the same thing.
Exactly. So that's probably why you do it, because you're so used to it anyway, you know what I mean? It just
30 plus years of doing it.
Exactly. It's just ingrained in me at this point. Plus, you get fucking bored when you start getting antsy, when you're sticking in one spot for a while. You just gotta fuck off for a little bit and see something different, So, how did everything get approached with Eric? Was he like, I'm going to take you on as an apprentice, or
no? Because I was already tattooing a little,
uh-huh.
and I learned like single needle style. So I wasn't using mags or flat shaders, all round shaders and stuff like that. So he was kind of like.
So he was showing you the traditional way.
Yeah. So it's like I kind of learned what almost not to do first. Which made it better to like I had the foot in. I knew how to make needles. I knew some stuff. I already messed with machines a little bit, so it was easier for him to go. Oh, okay. Well, check this out. You do it like this, or critiquing photos. You get your photos all week, bring them there. He'll write on your photos, do everything. Then you take that back next week and work on that. Yeah. So it was kind of like.
It's funny because you did the same exact shit with me. You know what I mean? It's like, and it fucking worked like a motherfucker.
That's what works.
It's so surprising to see how quick your work changes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? When someone's doing that with you. Yeah.
And you see the quality of their work, and you know what's lacking in yours. So you're like, how do I get that? What are you using? Use these needles. Oh, use this pigment. Oh, don't use that. Yeah. Take the photo this way.
It's just so crazy because he still does a fucking beautiful tattoo. You know what I mean? Like it just gets better and better, and. I mean, you remember he would just use nothing but fucking 6 flats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
6
like
flats,
forever.
That's it.
And no one fucking uses that shit now. He won't even use a coil machine now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's crazy. But there's still a bunch of people loyal to the coil. But whatever. I'm sure you don't give a fuck what anyone uses. I mean, at this point,
I know what I like. That's all.
Yeah, that's all you need to know. What works for you is. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
So, and now, how did everything start developing at Inksmith and Rogers? Because you were there. I mean, you were living with Eric. You know what I mean? Like you were living in the house, and Debbie was there, and everybody. So and then.
Well, there was the shop. There was only 3 stations, so there wasn't really room. So I was working in Orlando, then in Daytona, and I'd come up on like days off when there was an open station and work. So Eric was like, well, you need to tattoo and get some skin, tattoo a bunch. Yeah. So I went to Orlando, got a job with the lady Dina Lippens, had a shop down there.
Yeah, she used to have the women's convention.
Yep. So I worked with Dina. She gave me a job. I had to, I went in. And she's like, well, bring someone in to tattoo. So I got someone to tattoo and went in and did the tattoo. She watched me tattoo. And
the audition.
Said, yeah, that's the way it was. It wasn't just, hit you up on IG, you know, type deal.
Yeah, I mean,
It was a way different, but I'm glad I got to experience that version of it. No,
of course, you know, it's like it's like a trial by fire, you know,
yeah,
almost.
it was different. It was way different.
And someone that knew what the fuck they were doing, they can tell if they know what you're doing or not. You know. What
Yeah,
I mean?
watch
you're
you
not
set
tricking
up.
anybody.
Watch you set up machines. What you're doing, what you're using, what you don't know you're doing, like the whole deal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I worked for Dina for a while, and then Eric was like, "Well, we'll send you somewhere." And the 3 places was down at Lou's, which I had met Lou before, and I wanted to go there. And then the other one was up in Papillon to Mike Nicholson's.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was totally interested in machines.
Who was also a supplier too at the time. Yeah.
And I got to meet Mike, but I never did make it there. But I did get to go to San Diego to Dave Gibson's, and that was the right choice for me.
Forget
so
about
it was
it, man.
amazing.
Going there, dude, it was like
Yeah.
learning how to paint and fucking the lettering and just like Dave's swagger at the time. You know what I mean? Like Dave fucking had it going on for a minute there, dude.
Yeah, it was great.
You know, I mean, like I just remember just being like, you know, like just the whole attitude that was going on with Eric and Dave and those guys. You know what I mean? Like, like. And you wanted to get a haircut and get all slicked and all fucking dressed to the nines and look like a bad motherfucker. You know what I mean? Like you knew your shit. You know.
Yeah.
It's just it just made you fall in love with tattooing. That's how I felt about it. You know, especially the Luckies, man. Like the old Luckies.
It was great. It was awesome
You know,
shop.
you're tattooing like real motherfuckers there. You know.
Yeah, a lot of military, a lot of
squids,
Marines,
you know?
corpsmen, Navy, everyone. It was good.
And it was all hand
Busy
painted
street
flash,
shop. Yep.
all hand painted flash on the walls and shit.
All the stuff, there's a sheet
There's-
right there that
right
used
there.
to hang in it. Yeah.
I tattooed
That's
from
it.
this fucking sheet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
And it
the
was-
other one in the other room, I tattooed from that sheet.
There was a guy, Paul Dresmala, that worked there with Dave when I was there.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was career military, and he tattooed all through his Navy career. And he was in the Army, and he went through the Army and got out, and then didn't know what to do, so he joined the Navy and was in the Navy full career. But
go.
He learned from Al Miller from Masters Tattoo.
Yeah, it was right around the corner.
Maurice.
Yeah.
And I remember he had a shoebox full of letters from Paul, because he used to correspond with Paul in the 70s and 80s and everything. And he had a tattoo from Eric in Brunswick, Georgia, because through the military he got to travel all over.
Sure.
And so it's a small world where, you know, I meet this guy in San Diego that got tattooed by Eric years ago when Eric first started.
You're like, I'm supposed to be here.
So
you know?
it was crazy.
Did Dave ever tell you the story about him when he made it? He didn't think there was anything wrong. He was just like he was just on a different level. The guy. He was a really good tattooer and shit. He met a couple. He would go to this park, and in the one park, like the bathroom there was like kind of like a known like kind of gay hangout or something like that, where guys would hook up or whatever. And the guy just like goes in there, and he thinks the guy pissing next to him was just like, hey, he starts talking to him when he's taking a piss and shit. He's like, oh yeah, well, they're talking to the guy, and he gives the guy his fucking phone number. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna hang out as buddies or
I had
something.
no idea.
So he fucking goes home, and then and there's a message on his machine like, "Hey stud, you remember me from the bathroom today?" Like, so every time he would walk in the door, that Dave and the guys ever go, "Hey stud," you know, like they would just fuck with him all the time.
That's awesome.
You know? But he was there. Martin Robson went through that.
Yeah,
there
Martin was there.
A lot of good fucking
guys,
tattooers rolled through there.
Terry Tweed was there. Not when I was there.
There was a lefty station that was supposed to be Terry's, and then the other station
Paul,
was supposed to be for Sonny. Sonny was supposed to work there.
And Paul was left-handed.
Yeah.
So he got Terry's station there.
It's crazy, man.
I had the little a gap like this big next to the copy machine with my station, part of the counter.
Yeah, I mean that place was
convenient for copies. But
yeah, right. Not for tattooing though. That was such a fun place to work, man.
Yeah, it was great. And Dave always had a sheet of flash going, like all the time. He just constantly.
And he had this fucking slide guitar, the
steel
fucking
guitar,
steel guitar in the corner there with the cover.
Play that, yeah.
It was always good music playing in that place. You know, it was always like a positive vibe in that fucking joint. You know, and then the floor guys, you know,
Fernie,
and I was there when Cookie was there.
Oh, okay. Well, Fernie and Leo, they were
Yeah,
brothers.
Fernie and Leo they had just left.
R.I.P. Fernie.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And Cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know Cookie. I know
Yeah,
her
yeah,
guy.
he's like same kind of thing with
Okay.
you know Mexican dude. You know,
Right.
I think he got caught up in drugs and then it was that
Mhm.
him. But yeah, man. So I mean, I remember seeing all the you know like the sheets and
Yeah.
and sketchbooks and shit, you know, of all the stuff you were doing while
Yeah.
you were out there. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's you know, you were you could see that the development of your style right there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
I was lucky to kind of get to go where I kind of needed to go at the time, it seemed. You know, so I was out, it was 93, and I was out there with Dave, and then at that time, I talked to Lou, and he had got rid of a bunch of people, you know, people having, you know, partying problems or whatever.
Yeah.
So it kind of was my benefit. I wasn't, so I could get in. You know.
That was
so
a great
Lou,
crew down there too, man.
Yeah.
Tons
Lou-
of great tattooers came through there.
Yeah. So Lou got needed some people. So he called me. He's like, "Hey, you want to come to Miami?" And I talked to Dave, and he's like, "Yeah, if you want to go. I mean, you've been here 6 months."
Right.
So I got a flight like on Wednesday, and Sunday morning I'm in Miami. And I was in Miami for like 6 months and working with Emerson and Frank Lee and
Yeah.
Greg Christian, and you know, it was just so many people went through there. You know,
I know,
but
man.
it was like every shop, you know. They were helping us get better, which helped really boost their deal. It was a great
Absolutely.
trade-off. It was perfect scenario.
Absolutely.
It was great.
You know, it was just, you know, it was like, you know, when we first opened and shit, you know, there was all kinds of good people rolling through.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
fucking helps the shop name,
You know?
and it helps everyone there get better too. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Everyone's exchanging ideas and shit, and you know, there's some people more lacking than others, and
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
And the guys coming through are always a huge help to the staff that's there too.
Yeah.
So how did you get the call back to be full time at Inksmiths?
Well,
Eric was always good about that. He knew where to like if Eric couldn't fucking teach it to you, he
Yeah.
knew who to get you to.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
get
exactly.
you that you know get you that knowledge. You know what
yeah.
I mean?
It was like at that point I was using Jacksonville as a home base. Inksmith was on home base, but I'd still travel, like going to some conventions and going to Amsterdam and working with Hank, and
Yeah.
go there for a month at a time, and then come back. Then it'll be like, oh, go to California. There's like Inkslinger's Ball, go work there, and then go back to San Diego, see Dave. Then go up north, like go to San Francisco, work at 222, work at Erno's. So I was just doing big loops constantly everywhere.
You're a young dude.
Oh.
And tattooing then single.
Mm-hmm.
How good was that, dude?
It was great.
Ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
Just it's a free for all.
It's great.
It's just a free for all. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I could just sit here and think about those days of watching everyone just do their thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But stupid me got married. But what are you gonna do? You know.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're still you're still at Inksmith and Rogers today,
Mhm.
and you
Yeah.
still do the same fucking
Yeah.
shit. You're still
Yeah, I'm
buzzing
up in
around
New Jersey a bunch
Mhm.
at Historic Custom Tattoo, and I'm up in Sparta, New Jersey.
Where do you think? I mean, other than Inksmith and Rogers, you know, where do you think you learned the most from? Just the traveling alone, or
Yeah,
Dave,
just
or this
everywhere.
one?
Yeah, just
Because you know you would come here and then like fucking Sailor Eddie would fucking show you a bunch of shit too.
Yeah,
You know, like
yeah.
going to Eddie's and getting tattooed there.
everywhere. You can learn everywhere.
You know,
Sometimes you learn what not to do, and sometimes you learn what to do.
sometimes what not to do is
Yeah.
more valuable than what to do.
Yeah,
You know. What was I going to say? So let me ask you a question. I always heard that you have this like a what they call like a photographic memory
I remember.
type thing.
I think
And that-
visually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it makes it a lot easier to fucking like
Yeah.
to have like a nice storage unit
Yeah.
of shit to
Yeah,
grab
like
from.
with Eric, he'll be like, "Oh, draw a ship," and I'll draw. He's like, "Oh shit."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, I just looked at one." You know.
Well, I remember you being
Yeah.
down at fucking Philly Eddie's, man, and they're like, draw that fucking draw that fucking Bugs Bunny. You know, the one with the bass, and fucking next thing you know, there he is. I was like, fuck, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
I
the rest of us got to really try fucking hard, and you're just like fucking farting these things out.
I didn't pay attention in school. I just drew the whole time, so that's why.
That helps.
Different education.
Yeah, drawing all the time helps. And that's the biggest thing to learn from. If you're not doing this all the fucking time, you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, people want to treat this like it's a fucking part-time job, and this is not a fucking, this is your life.
Yeah.
It should be.
You're not going to get out of it, you know, you only get out what you put in, right? So if they're putting half in, that's about it.
How about, what are some of the highlights? Like, Tokyo was a good one.
Yeah,
you know,
99,
like,
Tokyo Convention, and Mark put that on, and that was awesome.
I mean, there's so many key fucking things, you know, to go from, you know what I mean? It's just
like a big long blur, and it's like, I can't believe we're looking at a flash that I did, you know, 20-something years ago. I was like, damn, that was that long ago.
Dude, I
like,
look at some,
Angus was this tall, you know?
Yeah.
Now I'm staying at his house. You know, it's so weird.
Crazy, right?
Yeah.
It's unbelievable. So who do you like? Where do you think tattooing's headed? Because you've seen all the fucking changes. Like, the way I look at, you know, I can be a very negative person, you know that. But and I piss and moan or whatever.
You're
but
good at it,
I'm very good. I'm excellent. There's some really good tattooers out there now. You know what I mean? Like, there's more good tattooers than there's ever been.
Well, it's easier to be better now.
The information is there.
It's quicker, yeah. In a year, you're like a 3 to 5 year tattooer in a year. Yeah. But you don't have 5 years experience.
No, fuck no.
So it's almost like a false sense of you got 100% of this, but you don't have the other ingredients of it. Kind of.
It seems like no one's developing their own styles though either. Like, okay, so a bunch of guys will, okay, well, we really like this Smith Street stuff or whatever. And then you see all these guys doing this like clunky fucking 18 needle outline fucking work and tons of black in it and whatever the fuck. And it looks like their shit, but it doesn't look like the person's, you know what they would draw if they drew
like
it
I
all
always,
the time.
it kind of, you know, coming from street shop, your style should be versatility. And now it's specialized, which I don't know. Will it stay like that, or will that drop off, or I don't know. You know,
it just seems to me
I feel better being versatile.
You should make fucking money, dude.
Yeah.
That's why it's called a job.
Yeah. Or, hey, do I want to do that Jesus Head single needle, or do I want to make it look like a big rubber sticker with the fattest outline I can? I can do it if I can convince the customer.
Of course.
So, you know, I get to do me at that point.
Right, and you have fun doing either one of them. That's
the
another thing I see with you. Like you love fucking. You don't give a fuck what it is.
No.
You're gonna have fun with it no matter what.
I just pretend it's Panther Head no matter what.
You know what I mean? You have a good attitude about things, and you know it's just. You know, there's some things that are lacking, and I think people can learn a lot from you by just fucking. Just all you got to do is watch a motherfucker tattoo a little bit. You know what I mean? That's the biggest help. You know, and
Yeah, I remember Eric saying Paul used to tell him, you should be able to walk into a shop and listen, and you can hear if the guy knew how to tattoo or not. Just listen to the machines and how he's playing. You don't have to see him.
Yeah.
Just hearing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. You know,
and I'm sure you walked in the shop, you hear this thing fucking clanking around like it's all fucking.
Yeah, you're like, whoa.
Or you know, motherfucker don't have a fucking rubber band on.
Well, now you can't hear anything.
Yeah. I remember the first time I met you, you came up around me, you go, put the rubber band on.
It was off?
Like, yeah, motherfucker was off. This fucking line isn't going in, man. And you're like, put that rubber band on. I was like, you know, I felt like such a jackass, you know. Oh my God.
Hey, I've done it too.
Everyone's done it, you know?
Yeah. I remember Eric telling me he threw it away when he got his first machine. He's like, oh, this must be packaging.
Yeah, right.
You gotta have a running start to keep the needle in the tube right.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's just amazing how much you can learn from the right teacher.
Yeah.
You know
or having the right, you know.
And the right people around you too, you know.
Yeah. Or being willing to learn. Because there's people that say they want to learn, but they don't get any better. And then you got some other guy that, like, you're like, how the hell did you get good? Just absorbing and doing it and putting the work in and the time. And you're like, oh, wow.
You can see the guys. I mean, you can tell by how much time they spend in the shop.
Yeah.
You know? There's the guys that like they fucking look at their watch and at the fucking hours on the door say 8 o'clock. They're fucking out. They're out like a shot, probably 5 minutes ahead of time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
But you know the deal. You know what they say if you're on time, you're fucking late.
Yeah, it's.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's it.
So you should always be here a little bit early to get your shit together, and you know you should be staying a little bit longer. And it's not, man. It's not a matter of like your boss getting extra out of it. It's you fucking just.
Yeah, but
how
that's
you
how they
value
look
this
at it
business.
sometimes. Yeah.
You know, and that's what I've always seen from you is the fucking value you put on this fucking business, like how much you give a fuck.
Well, it gives a fuck about you then. So.
It really does, dude. You know what I mean? Like you got
two-way street.
Yeah, everything you have in your life is because of this.
Yeah, I'm lucky to have it. You know.
Exactly. Yeah. You know. So where do you see you in tattooing going forward? You just want to keep doing the same thing?
Or? Yeah, I love it. Just keep doing them, you know.
And you do a lot of side shit. You fuck with motorcycles. You fuck with machines. And how'd you get involved with the machine end of it?
Well, just even learning to tattoo, that was kind of part of it. You know, take apart a machine, put it together. Like the first machines I used, I put together. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it kind of like all of it was like a mystery. There wasn't a book you could pick up for it.
No.
You had to learn. You know, from the guys who did it good. You know what I mean? It was like I liked the mystery of it, having to figure it out. You know, it was like I don't know how to explain it, but it was just it's like
a big puzzle.
Okay, it's like skateboarding.
Yeah.
Either you can do the trick or you can't do the trick, or you're gonna fucking spend all day falling and learning, and then you can do it. Well, no one can take that away from you, and then you can do it. You know, it's just that. So it's that same mindset. So it came from skateboarding and drawing and doing artwork, and it's like, well, I'm gonna same focus on tattooing.
I mean, you produce not only do you fucking do a lot of tattoos, but like, I mean, you're producing a lot of fucking paintings, like legit artwork, not like some fucking like just you know, spit shading a bunch of fucking flash or whatever that are a bunch of clunky fucking bullshit ass designs.
Well, I always have a bunch
like
going at once. You know, it's easier for me to start a bunch of paintings and slowly finish them. I don't start one and finish it. Right. You know, so I might have 5 things going at once, and then you get to a point where you're like, I'm not sure what I want to do here. So you just turn it around, don't look at it for a week or two, and work on the other stuff. Then you look at it and you're like, oh, just needs green here, needs a little red. Oh, okay. Yeah. You know, that's the way it works, you know, and that tattooing's a lot like that. Like you do an outline, you're working on a big piece, and they leave. You don't look at it. Then a month later, they come back. You're like, oh, I know exactly. Oh, I'll do this here. It's better. If you stare at it forever, you overthink it. So it's almost like that break time helps you, you know, and then you see, you're like, oh, okay. Or you see it years down the road and go, oh, I used to do it like that. I used to put this shade before, and, you know, it's cool to see it. It goes out in the world, and then it comes back and goes back out.
Well, the good thing about watching, I mean, you've always consistently done a fucking nice tattoo. You know what I mean? Like, oh, come on. I mean, you got to know what the fuck you're doing by now.
I like to do. I want to do a nice one. I don't want to do a bad one.
Well, look, there's a lot of people that do better than others, and you're just, you know, you just happen to be one of those cats. You know what I mean? Thanks. I learned a lot from you, hanging out with you, and fucking, you know, drawing with you, and doing all, you know, doing all kinds of shit. And that's really the only way to do it. I mean, you don't get better at things by hanging out at someone that don't give a fuck, or someone, you know, or someone that sucks.
You just might learn to be like that.
Well, that's why you try to tell these guys that, you know, they go on Instagram and they look at fucking fucked up tattoos to feel better about their tattooing because they suck.
Yeah.
Well, if you look at enough shitty things, you're gonna fucking become shitty. You know what I mean? If you look at a bunch of good shit, you probably get better. You know what I mean? So
yeah, for sure.
Like, be jealous of the guy that knows what he's fucking doing. You know, stay hungry. You know,
or figure out how to learn from it.
Yeah, I mean, like. Meet these guys, hang out with them, ask what they're doing, or, you know, most people will give you that information.
Yeah.
Especially now, you know.
Yeah, like painting and machines and all that. That's how I learned stuff, is like asking questions, but I knew enough to engage in the conversation too. So I tried to learn it and go, hey, is this right? Is this how this works? Is that? And if you come like that and say like, well, I want you to mentor me. I want to learn all this. Well, what's in it for me to show you? That's the shit I want to do.
Right.
I mean, you feel I owe it to you or something?
Well, you know,
Strange.
yeah, are you gonna come work and fucking put some money in my kick, or what are you gonna do?
Not usually.
No, they never want to. No one wants
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah.
You know. So let's see. That's another thing at this point. You know, there's a lot of take, and not giving back.
Yeah.
And
But
that's what
I think
see.
they'll get bored with it. A lot of people dropped off already from the whole COVID boom of ordering equipment and having a studio. Then reality sets in where it is seasonal. It does slow down. And, you know, when I remember when I started, you know, Saturday, the weekend I'd make money. During the week I'd paint, I'd work on machines, I'd tattoo a friend. No one walked through the door. You'd think the door was locked. You're like, damn, it's slow today.
From October to fucking like end of March.
That's the way it was.
You worked on Flash. You remember we both used to go. We had fucking sets of Flash. We'd sell the fuck out of that shit, dude. Now you can't do because remember like no one painted. No one like sat around painting and shit like you know like and did like little paintings or whatever. But now everyone fucking paints. They think it's their duty to do that, but. You know, it was never like that. Motherfuckers sat down, they just wanted to tattoo and make money and fuck sluts.
Those people that were doing paintings, they were like Dave, he was flashing out his whole shop with all his hand-painted stuff himself.
And he was making loot selling the fucking sets. You know, like those 3 fucking sets made him a ton of dough, dude.
Yeah.
You know?
But all that stuff in his shop, you couldn't get copies of that.
Hell
all the back
no.
pieces and all that stuff. It was like the shop was crushed with all his own hand-painted stuff, you know?
That stuff was beautiful, dude.
Yeah, it's like,
That's why I'm
and
glad
at
I
that
got
time,
some,
it was
you know,
like, it was probably 15, 20 years of him painting that flashed that out, you know what I mean?
That's how Spotlight was, you know?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of, like, quality fucking... You knew the good shops.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then even Inksmith and Rogers, you know, all Eric's stuff that was up there, man. I fucking love that Flash, man. You know.
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes how good it really is.
It was great.
You know what I mean?
Great.
And
he had all the color. You know, like Eric would say, "Oh, I'm a stencil jockey," but he'd do that Malone Reaper 5, 6, 7 different ways, and he's like, "Oh, well, if you put purple here, you should do this color here." Or he had it all worked out, like all the color combos, the color theory, like. Well, if you do this, you shade a little blue here. Like, he had that all worked out, and that was the style of the shop, and it had to look right. It had to come out the right way. So you learned all those tricks, you know? So
dude,
most of my color theory, it comes right from Eric, you know?
Of course. Like, but he did that, like, thing, like, shading the black in between the fucking banners and then packing the yellow in there and just pop those fucking banners out. And then the banners themselves with the fucking, with the, like, red or no, like the brown, red, orange, and then fucking with the yellow highlights on the top and bottom, man. Like, that was the Inksmith fucking look right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
or you do an eagle and all that whip shading, that black shading, you'd pack white in it. And that eagle, 20 years later, the shading, those little dots didn't spread. It was perfect.
Yeah. Well, that was from like fucking Jerry tattoos coming in that he saw.
Packed white.
Where fucking Jerry packed white in the fucking wings of shit.
And Lou would do it too.
Yeah.
Like,
the muscle tone of the fucking Panthers, there was white and stuff. And that made that shit stay really nice, you know?
Yeah, it looks amazing.
And you talk to someone now about putting white into something, they look at you like you got 2 fucking heads. It's like, but you know, you got to know what skin to put it in and what skin not to put it in. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit
That's true.
You know, some people don't know how to work with darker skin. You know.
And we're tattooing in Florida. You know,
you're tattooing everyone.
Sun worshippers. They got, you know, you got roofers with like the leatheriest, worst skin ever sometimes, and they're like, I want a bunch of bright colors. It's
well, you know the roofers in Philly here. You know what I mean? They're like bright red.
Yeah.
You touch the skin, it just starts gushing blood. You
everywhere.
know? Yeah. So it's like you better get that fucking outline in there mighty quick before it fucking disappears. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you know, but you know, I'm glad. I mean, you know, we spent a lot of hours tattooing together too. You know what I mean? Back in the fucking day, you know, and those were like real golden years of fucking tattooing, man. You know what I mean? It really was, man. We're all fucking young and hungry and fucking just love what we're fucking doing.
It was awesome.
You know what I mean? And it wasn't like, man, okay, you did that and you had your fucking weekends off or whatever. Man, it's like 24/7, dude.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just chasing it and chasing it.
Yeah. It's your life.
And it still is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm here every fucking day, dude. Like, somehow, some way, or whatever the fuck, dude, you know? The alarm goes off, they ain't fucking calling the other guy. They're calling me, you know?
Right.
I'm the motherfuckers got to show up. So.
Yeah.
But, And you know that too, you know what I mean? You fucking ran the shop with Angelo for a long time too, you know?
Yeah.
So you're on the fucking hook for everything.
Right.
You know? So it's not an easy thing to do.
No.
You know? So what so you're not really in Jacksonville as much anymore, right? You go down there what, about a week a month, is that it?
Well, I used to fly down there, and now I drive. I make a trip out of it, so it's 4 or 5 times a year.
Okay.
I'm down there.
Okay, and then you're up in Watchung or
Watchung, New Jersey.
Watchung?
Yeah.
And that what's that called again?
Historic Custom Tattoo.
Historic Custom Tattoo.
With Sam Hambrick and PD and Zach. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So if you want to find this motherfucker, that's where he'll be.
I'm there.
You know what I mean? Or, hit his Instagram up.
Yeah.
Somebody will get back to you or whatever the fuck. He's, Mike's one of those like top tier dudes, but he's highly accessible. You know what I mean? And you don't have that snooty asshole attitude.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to.
Yeah. Good luck with that. But you've always, I've seen you help fucking everyone. You know what I mean? Like, you don't give a fuck who it is. Someone's asking you a tattoo question.
Yeah.
And it benefits everybody, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I feel lucky I got helped in here, too, so.
It's your duty.
Because a lot of times even, I talk to Eric about it, and people ask you a bunch of stuff, and you give them the knowledge, and they don't even use it, so, not worried.
Yeah, we were just talking about this with the colors and shit like that.
Yeah. Oh, what are you using? And then they don't even get it. They just want to know, but they don't want to change what they're doing. It's pretty funny.
Right.
It's like, okay.
I was hanging out with Mike Wilson earlier today, bro. But like it's good that you're that accessible to people though too. You know what I mean? Because as a tattooer, you can learn something from everyone, no matter where whatever the fucking skill level. You know what I mean? A lot of people have a different take on things. They'll have you look at shit a different way. So
yeah.
But
yeah, for sure.
Now you're living up in Dover, New Jersey.
Near there, Sparta, New Jersey. It's a little further.
Right. So which now we have Norfolk coming up next week or this week, and then where are you off to after that?
I go to Norfolk Convention and then just kind of down the coast, like Surf City, North Carolina, Wilmington, then Myrtle Beach, Charleston, Jacksonville, then Daytona. Then I'll head up Hendersonville, North Carolina, then Roanoke, Salem, Virginia area, then up Alley Cat Tattoo, Harrisonburg.
That's Nick that does the no lies, just bullshit, and they got a great shop there, great tattooers, very good vibes, the whole nine. Actually, we sat down and talked with him for one of these too. Nice. Him and Andrew, we did a double.
Yeah, Andrew's great.
We double dipped on that one.
Nice.
That motherfucker can draw his ass off.
Anything.
God damn.
He just does it.
Yeah, and he's just constantly cranking shit out.
Always.
It's good. I love seeing that kind of shit. And then you see these lazy motherfuckers bitching and complaining. It's like, what are you complaining about, man?
Yeah.
This guy's taking full advantage of his career.
That's it.
So should you.
Yeah.
So, where do you have any like big projects coming up or anything like that, or you're just cranking out the paintings as usual?
Just kinda, do a few conventions a year, like do the Pagoda Convention, Scranton Convention, the one Crows that we're going to. 3 or 4 a year.
And then you're hooked up with Lucky's a lot too.
I go down there and work on machines and
Jimmy, Jimmy, feel free to throw some money at me for a plug here, buddy.
Yeah, I like going down there, and I just kind of do my loop. I got.
Well, you have a bunch of stuff in the museum there too, don't you?
Yeah, I brought like.
Because you had a massive fucking machine collection.
Yeah, I brought over 100 of my personal machines, and they're on display down there.
What kind of machines are in that?
Everything.
From what to what?
Early stuff, antique stuff I bought from Sonny years ago.
Yeah.
My Paul machines, personal stuff that I used. Just a little bit of everything, just collecting over, 30 plus years of machines,
All right. Very good.
Yeah.
I'm glad we finally got a chance to sit down and talk.
Thanks.
Like I said, you motherfuckers know who he is. And he's very, very accessible. If you've been wanting a tattoo, get it before he croaks. You know what I mean? That's all I can say. But yeah, thanks for hanging out for the past couple days, brother.
Thanks, Eric.
You know I love
Always
you, buddy.
love you too.
And yeah, that's
Thanks
it. We'll
for
see.
watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next one.
All right.